Wagwan, everyone. I hope you're doing well. And welcome to this Zurich versus Arsenal match reaction. But before we talk about anything to do with football, I'm sure you all heard the news of today. And I'd just like to send my gratitude because I know there's a lot of people and condolences to people who are mourning the death of Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II, the longest monarch in British history. It's huge news across all the UK, across the world, in fact. And yeah, our rest in peace to the Queen and sending out all the condolences to everyone mourning the death of Queen Elizabeth II. But the show must go on. So Arsenal played FC Zurich in their first Europa League game at St Gallen Stadium, and Arsenal won by 2-1. It was just the brief overall of the game. It wasn't as easy or as comfortable as a lot of Arsenal fans thought it would be going into it. There was a lot of surprises, and was there really much surprises? There was a surprise inclusions, some key players that were in the side within the starting lineup. And my thoughts when I saw the starting lineup was, wow, he's gone very strong. He's had a mixture of players. I know at the moment with the current Arsenal squad, we don't really have much scope for change, given the issues in squad depth, the injury issues that we have going into this game. And yeah, so when I saw Matt Turner in goal, that was no surprise. We saw Tomiyasu, Rob Holding, and Gabriel and Kieran Tierney making up the back four in front of Turner. I thought, expected to see Tomiyasu play, Rob Holding. Interesting, he went with Gabriel, no Benjamin White or William Saliba, but he went for that left-footed centre-back. And then no surprise in seeing Kieran Tierney start, as he didn't even come on at all on the weekend. We'll get into Kieran Tierney, of course. But then the midfield, we saw Sambi Lokonga at the base, who had to start in this one with given Thomas Partey's and Mohamed El Nene's injuries going into it. So he was left with no choice, Mikel Arteta, to start Sambi Lokonga unless he wanted to take a huge risk and play Matt Smith. But then we also saw Fabio Vieira in the side, which it piqued everybody in Arsenal fans' interest to see our new signing from Porto for 35 million start his first game. And then we also saw Marquinhos, the new signing, who was the first signing of this summer transfer window just gone. And yeah, the Brazilian from Sao Paulo, we'll certainly talk about him, who starred in today's game. But then, yeah, Eddie Nketiah, expected that. And we expected that since he signed his 5-year contract to be playing in these games. That was a lot of Arsenal fans who thought, this is his opportunity to shine. But due to injuries, and in particular, in this case, Emil Smith-Rowe, Martinelli had to start on the left. So, yeah, interesting when I saw that starting lineup. I like the mixture of strong and strength. And, it was always going to be a difficult test, I thought, going away from home and, players getting their first game of the season, and players who have just come back from injury a lot of the time. It was always going to be difficult. So, yeah, it was interesting seeing that starting lineup there. But then the game kicked off. There was one thing that we all noticed in particular. And the one thing that I noticed was Kieran Tierney and the positions he was taking up on the pitch. What we've seen from Kieran Tierney in the games that he's come into due to Zinchenko's injury, he's been very much doing his conventional left back role, which I thought we missed a little bit with Zinchenko's injury, with the control in midfield, which is probably the reason why he was brought in straight away. But Kieran Tierney, he took the Zinchenko role in this game, and might I say, I thought he was really good in the game. I thought he did that well. He showed a good range of passing, a good technical ability. He was excellent defensively, covering a lot of times. And actually, the goal where it initially started from, because he had to cover on that right side of in the right back position. He carried it all the way up the pitch, but then Vieira gave the ball away, trying to find a difficult ball through to Martinelli, and the counter-attack came. The corner came following that. And following the corner, that's when they equalised. But yeah, Tierney took that position in that central area, and I thought it was quite impressive to see him do that. Of course, against the level of opposition in Zurich, you can afford to take those risks a little bit more. Arsenal always going to have the ball possession of the ball, and we're going to dominate. And the Zurich coach, Father Franco, said that as well. He expected that going into the game, and with Zurich entering this one low on confidence, ninth out of 10 teams in the league, although they did win the league title last summer. But yeah, there was a lot going on during that time. There's a lot that's happened. The managers left and a lot of players, so low on confidence. But yeah, it was a good opportunity to see if Kieran Tierney could do that role. And I thought he impressed. I thought he looked really good. But yeah, we have to talk about the first goal. Now it's time to talk about the goals, because Marquinhos, he was brilliant. And the first goal, that came from Fabio Vieira, doing well under pressure, playing the ball into space for Eddie Nketiah to run down this left channel. Down the left channel. And Eddie Nketiah, wonderful first-time ball. I know it took a little deflection, but it was still a very good, classy ball from Eddie Nketiah to find Marquinhos at the back post. It wasn't an easy finish for Marquinhos. The ball was bouncing as it took a deflection. It was one of those where, you know, when you sat in your armchair, when you sat on the sofa in the stands watching it, you think, yeah, he should score here, but it's a lot more difficult. If you've ever, I mean, come on, we're not professional footballers, but we've seen professional footballers miss those chances. And if you've ever played football, you'd have missed those chances as well. So yeah, it's easier said than done. But Marquinhos excellently finished that with his weaker right foot. But overall, let's talk about Marquinhos, because he was phenomenal throughout the game. He was, when I say phenomenal, he was phenomenal at points. It was his debut, so I didn't expect him to have a controlling influence. But when he took the ball, he always looked to drive. He always looked to commit at the defenders. He looked smart in his play. He didn't look raw, which is interesting, because when we saw Martinelli come, we saw that energy that he possessed. And even throughout a lot of the years, really, this is probably the first time we've seen Martinelli really refine his game. But Marquinhos, he looked a lot more mature in his performance than when Martinelli first came in. He picked his head up at times. He played the right passes. He knew when to take his man. He knew when to put his body across and try and win free kicks. There was one time where the referee gave a corner, but the Zurich player completely took out Marquinhos, and it was clever play, good burst of acceleration, and good and high level technical ability that he has shown. And Marquinhos was extremely impressive tonight. And for the young, what is he, 18, 19? Marquinhos, let me know in the comments or in the live chat how old he is, but he was fantastic tonight. And even before his goal, he actually put a brilliant ball into the box to find Martinelli, who should have done better with the header. And Martinelli should have been the one giving us the lead, but he was phenomenal. And it was nice to see him so emotional when he scored that goal. You can really see how much it means to him, how his life has changed in the past few months since making that move to Arsenal. There was a lot of controversy surrounding that move, of course, if you can remember, where Wolverhampton Wanderers, they had a pre-agreed contract, or verbally pre-agreed contract, where there was like threatening legal cases in terms of how that contract was broken as he made the move to Arsenal, but Wolves decided to not do that. So yeah, it was a big decision for Marquinhos to come to Arsenal, and yeah, it was probably in a short space of time if he did have that pre-arranged contract. So yeah, it was what a turn of events in his life, and he's had a brilliant start to his Arsenal career. Phenomenal kid, and what a talent he is, and no one really thought that he would have this big of a role. Nobody did, because with all the talk of Arsenal signing a winger, it was interesting in Rafinha at the start of the summer. Obviously, he went to Barcelona, and then there was talk about Pedro Neto, and then Mykhailo Mudryk as well towards the end. But then as our attention shifted towards a midfielder, we knew that he was going to have to play a big part, and he would get his opportunities in the Europa League, which was at first when we signed him, we was hoping so, but we also had the thought of the possibility that we may sign another wide forward / winger, but he's certainly taken this opportunity with both hands, and he was excellent. Goal and an assist, but we'll get into the assist later. He was a threat going forward, making intelligent runs. But once again, when the ball was at his feet, he was very smart with his decision making. For someone making his debut for Arsenal, away from home, in a very good atmosphere, credit to the FC Zurich fans. They were singing Paraduno Baya, which is a song that I was singing a lot, making chants out of that. So they were excellent, the Zurich fans, and they really made it a hostile, well, I wouldn't say hostile, but an intimidating place for Arsenal. And yeah, it was just nice to see. But the Zurich players didn't, as they sat back in a low block. But it was a big challenge for Marquinhos, and he was excellent in that game. And yeah, that's where the goal came. And I've got to give credit, massive credit to Eddie Nketiah for lifting his head up as well. I thought he was brilliant, Eddie Nketiah, throughout the game. I thought his movements looked sharp. He looked really on it. He's added a new layer to his game, and I heard the commentators say that as well. He really has developed, and you can see why Arteta was so full of praise of Eddie Nketiah and how hard he worked in training. And this is why, guys, when you can be quick to make judgments on players at times, and when managers playing them or managers decide to keep them, you're like, well, why would he do that? I don't understand. Like, we don't see the quality. If you don't see it straight away, we are very quick to make judgments. But when you hear about the player and how hard he works, and if you just see the goal record that he's got I know it's in under 21s for Arsenal, under 23s, and England's record goal scorer for the under 21s as well. So you're thinking, yeah, but is he going to be able to cut this at this level? Francis Jeffers, for those of you not familiar with his nickname. He was a very good player for the under-21s when we signed from Everton, but didn't turn out to be the man. So I think a lot of Arsenal fans had that thought of Eddie Nketiah. He's not good enough, taking on that number 14, that famous shirt. But he's really improving. And by each game, I see development in his movement, in how he controls the ball, even technically, his intelligence, in working the ball outside of the box. In the box, Eddie Nketiah has always been a threat. And we saw that from his goal, the intelligent movement to peel off at the back post and to brilliant contact with the header. And I remember last season where there was a headed opportunity against Nottingham Forest and he didn't take it. But this shows you the difference in the confidence levels and the ability of Eddie Nketiah as well, because this is his first start of the season. And so it's not like he's had a lot of starts or a lot of minutes where he's been able to warm up really with this side. So there has been a definite improvement in his confidence and his ability. So I thought Eddie Nketiah was really impressive tonight as well. Well, you know what? Who we've got to talk about is Fabio Vieira. I think a lot of Arsenal fans will be encouraged, and you should be, with Fabio Vieira, because he looked very lively. Once again, talking about football intelligence, football IQ. He picks up some really good spaces. And although I don't think it was a great game from Fabio Vieira, I did think that he looked sharp. He wasn't as sharp. Some of his passes didn't work out, like we saw when Zurich nearly had a counter-attack where him and Martinelli weren't quite on the same wavelength. With his first start like in any game, because he never had a pre-season. So he had a total of 20 minutes of football altogether, and he played 68 minutes tonight. So I was really impressed given the context around Fabio Vieira, and he played a big part in the first goal. He was picking up some dangerous spaces, taking a lot of set pieces, showing a high level of confidence as well in picking up the balls in similar areas. And I do think that Fabio Vieira and Martin Odegaard will be interesting. A lot of people think that they will play, that they can see each other playing together. I'm a bit doubtful about that. I'm slightly doubtful because I do think they like to take up very similar positions in their free roaming role. I think that Fabio Vieira roams around the pitch a little bit more than Odegaard, and he's more direct. We know that, and a lot of Arsenal fans doing their research and scouting into Fabio Vieira would have found that out. But I thought, yeah, he's more direct, but he likes to take up different positions. And maybe Arteta gave him that freedom, or if that's just what Fabio Vieira likes to do, whereas we see Ødegaard take up a lot of positions in that half space, in that right side, works a lot with Saka. I think Fabio Vieira could definitely do that. And with more games and more sharpness and as the fitness levels increases, we're going to see an even better Fabio Vieira. I don't even think that this is 50% of his current level, which he can certainly improve on even in that at the age he is. So it's very exciting for Fabio Vieira, and it's very exciting for a lot of our new players, and everything surrounding Arsenal at the moment. I know I'm talking so positively against FC Zurich, where we made harder work of it than we should have. But I'm talking about individual performances here. And then I'll go into the criticisms of the team and certain players as well. So Tierney, I thought he was very impressive, taking up that Zinchenko role defensively, recovering well, showing a lot of energy and confidence. And he's looking at a really good level of fitness right now, Kieran Tierney. It's all about making sure he can maintain that for a long period for the team, and he's going to be vital. He's going to be so important going into those busier months, as we've got the October schedule coming around, through November, with so many games and so many big ones throughout October. It's going to be important to rotate the squad and have different players for courses. And if Zinchenko might have to cover in midfield, then Tierney's going to have to play as well. So I thought he was excellent there, Kieran Tierney. Marquinhos, the star man, the man of the match for me. Let me know who you think the man of the match is in the comments or in the live chat if you're watching. But yeah, Marquinhos with a goal and an assist to his name. We haven't even spoken about that second goal yet, but we have to. And then Tomiyasu. This is another one that I wanted to give praise to. I thought he was brilliant with the ball at both feet. And this is why if there was a cup final tomorrow, I would choose Tomiyasu over Benjamin White. Although Benjamin White has not put a foot wrong in at right back, even when he has played, he's shown a really high level, and he's such an important player for Mikel Arteta and his side. And he's very versatile. He can cover so many different roles and positions. And I'd think about playing Benjamin White. I'd still keep him in the side, but I'd think about dropping a certain someone. And I'll talk about him in a bit. But yeah, I thought he was brilliant tonight, Tomiyasu, and the quality of passes on both feet. He's very what's the foot? Is it ambidextrous? Can you use that, or is that with your hands? But yeah, he's two-footed ability, and the quality of his passes, it just makes it. I think he gave Marquinhos that nice start, because when you've got that defensive solidity that Tomiyasu gives you, and then the ability, the passing ability of both feet, the switches that he plays, and the balls in behind, which he tried to find Marquinhos with one, I believe, and it was excellent. It was a beautiful ball from Takehiro Tomiyasu. It was wonderful, and it's just really great to see him really increasing his levels, Tomiyasu, and hopefully he can get fit and he can get ready for the Arsenal. And yeah, we have more competition for places. So the key and the bright sparks in Tierney, Marquinhos, Vieira, and Tomiyasu in particular. There was more impressive performances, might I say, but those were the standouts. I thought Sambi Lokonga, he looked excellent once again. He's really grown into that role, Sambi Lokonga, and hopefully as he develops, he can develop more on the defensive side and get a little bit more robust and intelligent in those areas. And it's probably with experience, most likely, that these players in that deep area of the pitch will get to their best. So yeah, I really thought those players impressed. Granit Xhaka, the captain. If you're a regular on the channel, you'll know how much I love Granit Xhaka and how much I've been championing for him to be captain ever since Aubameyang left. And at that time, it wasn't a very popular thing to say. But yeah, he was brilliant again tonight. He's been really good this season, Granit Xhaka. Stalwart in that midfield. A massive player in terms of our attack. In the first half, it seemed like most of our creative opportunities were going through Granit Xhaka. So that midfield gave us good stability on the ball and progression. I was happy with that. But there's a couple of negatives that I might have to talk about. Big up each and every one of you that's watching live right now. Make sure you smash the like if you haven't done so before I talk about the not so great sides. And And the reason why I think we struggled a lot in this game, when I'm looking at it and when I'm thinking, it all started with let's talk Matt Turner. When I say negative, I'm not going to be entirely negative, but my feeling, this is just my raw emotion. It may, once again, caveat that first game for Arsenal. It's a first game for a goalkeeper. It's very awkward being a second choice goalkeeper because you don't really get a lot. You know, you'd never really get a lot of minutes, and you're expected to bring what Ramsdale does. And it's not like Ramsdale's been amazing, but the ability that he has and how much what he brings to Arsenal is vital. I felt nervous watching Matt Turner with the ball at his feet, and he gave it away at one time and early in the first half. And I think Rob Holding had to make a clearance off the line. I'm not sure if it might have been going in fact, but the ball from Gabriel wasn't good to him. But I didn't really get much confidence in Matt Turner and his goalkeeping. And from that subsequent corner, he actually flapped at it when he could have let it go. And if he just showed a little bit more composure there, he could have, he put us under more pressure in that moment. And against a better side, they could capitalize on that. There wasn't really any more moments. I can't really remember anything in the second half, but I just didn't feel confident with Matt Turner in goal. I'm going to give him some leeway, though, cut him some slack. It's his first game, but that's just my feeling. The player who I didn't have confidence really at all tonight, and I thought he was very slack with his passing. Defensively, he was strong. He seemed alert, but just seemed very complacent in possession, and that was Gabriel Magalhaes. And this is someone that I've highly rated, and a lot of you guys have given me stick, and and a lot of non-Arsenal fans have given me stick about this by me saying I still think he can. That this guy could be one of the top 5 centre-backs in the world at some point in his career. But his glaring weakness is certainly his passing. And on the ball, the centre-backs had a lot of time as Zurich set up in a low block. So that meant that the centre-backs had a lot of touches, and it was important for them to really make sure they played good passes into the midfielders, into the wide players, into the fullbacks, whoever they're playing it forward to, with a good amount of pace and zip. And these are the things as football fans we don't really pay attention to, but the players on the pitch will definitely pay attention to it in terms of how the ball is being played. Can you allow your teammates to play this with one touch? Can you allow them to turn? Make sure that pass has a meaning and intention, that it's not too short where they have to come and meet it, where it's not too long where they're having to stretch and take an extra couple of touches, where it's right in their stride and they're able to be and they're able to really play front-footed, as Ronaldo just scored there, but it's ruled off for offside. Brilliant header, by the way. But anyways, yeah, it's definitely meaning, and it's something I'm very concerned about with Gabriel. Although I will give him praise in terms of his game, he's very good defensively. I think when he's concentrated, when his mind's right, he's athletic. He's very strong in the air, good in both boxes. Any crosses being swung into the box, I trust him to deal with it. But with the combination of Rob Holding and Gabriel, Rob Holding, that's never been his game, and that's never been a key part. But if you're going to be playing under Mikel Arteta, and if we're going to take our game to the next level, we're going to be coming up against a lot of low blocks, and teams will set out and look at Gabriel and say, you can have the ball. We'll let you try and play it because we don't believe that you're good enough. But everyone else, then that's when we have to be really alert and try and set traps on Gabriel. That's what they will do. But yeah, it's not great, and it's not giving me confidence going forward. He definitely needs to improve on that. He's still young and he's still got time. And I'm not expecting him to become like Van Dijk levels at passing, and that's probably not a great example right now. But someone who plays for Manchester United and who Arsenal were very closely monitoring, and who he actually wanted to sign in Lisandro Martinez, who's one of the best passing centre-backs statistically wise. If you look at how he did at Ajax in the Champions League in the world, he's in top 1% of centre-backs with the amount of passes that he makes, the long passes, the pass completions, etc. I am concerns about that in Gabriel's game, and that's an area that I really do think he needs to develop. And that's where a lot of the problems were caused when he's trying to play it forward. It's either not a great quality of pass, which puts his teammate under pressure. They eventually lose it, or he just loses it himself. So that's something that I'm looking at. Maybe I'm being overly critical. Let me know in the live chat or in the comments what you thought of Gabriel. But I definitely think he could get dropped, and we could potentially see a centre-back partnership of Benjamin White, William Saliba, and with Takehiro Tomiyasu at right back, and either Zinchenko or Tierney in that left back. If that was the centre-backs, I would probably prefer to start Tierney, just because I think he's stronger defensively than Zinchenko, and I think that Gabriel is our best pure defender, although Saliba's definitely a close one right now. But in terms of what he can give you with his athleticism and his defensive ability and his strength in the air and how he reads and how he's aggressive in interceptions, I do think it's important to have a good partnership with your centre-backs in that case. So, yeah, Gabriel wasn't great. I didn't think Martinelli great start. He looked a lot better and a lot sharper, though. This isn't a negative of Martinelli. He's had a lot of responsibility, and he's at a high level, and he started the season at a really high level for Arsenal. And he wasn't great to begin with, but you can still see with the intelligence of Gabriel Martinelli, the runs that he makes. There was one time where Xhaka hooked a ball over his shoulder because he saw the run of Martinelli, and Martinelli, the ball was just behind him, and he had to hit the shot over. But his movement and the intensity that he plays with is so intelligent, and he's not so intelligent. He's increasing in intelligence. That's what I meant to say. Sorry, and he's getting smarter and he's getting savvier, and he's looking a lot more like a wide forward. And I'm expecting a lot of goals from Martinelli this season. And if I was to place a target on him, I'm sure he's got targets himself, and Arteta and the coaching staff have. I'm expecting 15 goals in all competition for Martinelli this season. I know it's a lot and it sounds crazy, but with the Europa League, with the FA Cup, with the Carabao Cup and the Premier League, I'm expecting a high level of output for him. And if he can hit that 15 goal mark, and let's say 15 to 20 goals and assists, if he can get to that, I'll be very impressed. And that's him taking that next level, that leap forward into and trying to get closer to the potential that a lot of fans and a lot of pundits and a lot of scouts and football managers and everyone around the game knows that he can have. And he's excellent, man. And I really am seeing him take that next step, Gabriel Martinelli. So I'm looking forward to his season for sure. The other negative that I'm going to talk about was, every time we lost the ball, and this is where the goal once again came from, Zurich, every time we lost the ball, Zurich seemed to counter-attack on us and seemed to cause us more problems. They even generated a save out of Matt Turner. And every time we lost the ball, we lost our shape. I think because it was so easy at times, and we were so complacent, and we was trying to get men forward so we could score more goals. I think Arsenal tried to be we wasn't complacent as in, oh yeah, we're just going to be sitting around and then making massive errors. I just thought we overloaded, and similar to how we did against Manchester United, where we were dominating the game so much, so we just flooded players forward, and we left ourselves exposed at times, especially down the wide areas in and around there. And if they did evade our mini press by playing so direct, they seemed to cause us get in dangerous positions. They didn't have the quality that Manchester United have. They didn't have the quality that you'll see from most sides in the Premier League, and as you get deeper into the competition. But it was a bit of a cause for concern in that. It's still very early on in the season, so I'm not expecting to see peak levels of performance. But the defensive structure is giving me a little bit of in and out of possession. Out of possession, when we're in possession and in the transition, that's when I'm worried. Out of possession, I can trust Arteta to set us up right for leading 2-0 and those things there, and we're trying to hit the other team on the counter-attack. It's when we're in the ascendancy, and I think Manchester City have shown this vulnerability this season. When they're on the ball, they lack a little bit more control now with Haaland into the side, and they look a little bit more exposed to the counter-attack, and I feel like we're kind of having that issue at the moment. And maybe the absence of Thomas Partey is a big key factor in that. But even with Thomas Partey against Leicester, there was getting down the channels and a few opportunities. I think it's just because that we are really being the protagonists in the game now. So it's interesting, and it is a change from what we used to in the recent years. But yeah, we are looking a little bit vulnerable on the counter-attack, and I'm sure that's something that Arteta wants to work on. The other slight negative is the penalty. I know Eddie Nketiah gives the penalty away, but for me, the error there, and I watched it back a few times, was Gabriel Martinelli. Tommy Asu, so the ball gets crossed into the box. It makes its way out to towards the edge. So the Zurich player who tries to cross it in completely shanks the cross, but Tomiyasu is looping up in the air. Tomiyasu goes to win it, but he's challenged by a Zurich player. And Martinelli, he assumes that Tomiyasu is going to win this ball. And what happens then is he moves away from the ball, and he's already thinking about the counter-attack and trying to win this, or either trying to win the second ball as Tomiyasu heads it into and tries to head it away from goal. But he actually leaves the gap open where the ball goes through, and Eddie Nketiah should be expecting it, and he should be more alert to the situation. He reacts and he tries to clear it away, but the Zurich player nicks him in front of him and he goes through him. And the person that I'm putting to blame a lot is not actually the one who gave it away. It's Martinelli, who was the nearest to it, and he moved and the ball went through that area there. So you got to expect that. You got to expect him to lose the ball in that area, and you got to be alert to danger. And I don't think Martinelli was there, and neither was Eddie Nketiah. But it was a well taken penalty from the Zurich player. I'm not even sure it was who scored it. I've just said Zurich players. I'm not even giving them any mention. It was Kyriezu. Yeah, it was Kyriezu who took the penalty, the centre back, and he scored. But let's go back to the positives. The second goal from Eddie Nketiah, who was phenomenal. Phenomenal is a bit of a stretch. It's a bit of a stretch, but he was really good as well. And he played a part in the first goal with the assist, with the run, and then the ball to Marquinhos. And Marquinhos with a delightful cross into the box and found Eddie Nketiah at the back post. Brilliant movement once again. And it was an excellent finish from Eddie Nketiah. But guys, I've spoken a lot now, and I've not even got you lot involved. But make sure, if you are new, smash that like button as well and subscribe. Think about subscribing to the channel. Big up to each and every one of you that's in here as well. Big up to you guys. It's nice seeing you. And we'll go through your comments, and then we'll go through a mini player ratings. That's what I want to do. So let me go into the comments and big up each and every one of you in here. We got Edmin in here saying, good win. Maybe the last game for 2 weeks yet. It might be. We're still waiting to hear news on that, of course. But yeah, it might be. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Big up yourself, my bro. Big up Ravi in the place saying, Wagwanti. Yo, didn't see the game, but really, Arsenal should be winning the Europa. You like that? We'll see. We'll see, Ravi. First game, a long way to go. Still definitely a long way. Big up to yourself, King, as well. Nice seeing you here. And King says, Marquinhos was very exciting to watch. He was so good. Brilliant finishing. Excellent finish for that first goal with his right foot. You are right, indeed. And there's Ed saying, is that Wolves' Marquinhos? Should have been yours. Big up Solo in the place. Hope you're keeping well, Errol. Brad says, what up, T? I'm happy we won, but I just left the game with a bad feeling. We did not look as good as I thought we should have, but I'll take the 3 points. And Brad, I do think you're right in that. There is, this is probably where I'm going to try and calm, calm you down. But yeah, try and calm those nerves and try and lift up that feeling a little bit. Is that a lot of these players would have played together for the first time in these combinations and taken up different roles in this new Arsenal side. And a lot of these players this was their first appearance for Arsenal. Fabio Vieira, Marquinhos, who else? Eddie Nketiah's first start of the season. We have to be a little bit patient. We're not going to be as fluid. We're not going to be at our best, even structurally. But yeah, I do see where you're coming from. That it wasn't as vintage and it wasn't as dominant performance as we expected it to be or had hoped to be away from home. But we got the 3 points, as you said, and we got to take that. Big up yourself, Sarvik, my brother. Hope you're keeping good. Listen to King right there. Don't forget, these players have not played with each other before. So literally what I've just said, big up yourself. And he says, with each other before they will need games to gel. Indeed, indeed. Smash that like button. And he's talking about Xhaka. He was on that train for a very long time. Big up yourself, Fatai Hamed. Hope you're keeping good. Thank you for tuning in. B&B in here as well. Clinical edge at both ends of the pitch is missing. Yeah, it is. And it's that ruthless streak. And this is something where if Brad and B&B, I'm not going to be able to try and caveat this because I think this is what we miss in our squad right now. And I'm not too sure if the young players can become that. But I think this will come with additions as we get closer to the final products of Arsenal. Gabriel Jesus, although how great he is as has been and what he's brought to the side and the increased technical ability and just everything, physicality that he's brought to that forward line, he's not someone that you would say is a ruthless finisher. I would also say about Saka, who's missed quite a few opportunities, scored a lot of goals, well, decent amount of goals last season. But if you want to see him increase that goal tally and increase in his ability to finish, which we've seen him miss multiple chances this season, Gabriel Martinelli, he's probably been our most lethal player in front of goal, who seems to take more opportunities than he misses, although he has missed some key opportunities as well in games and just quite lack that clinical edge, as you said, B&B. This is something that we're going to need to add as we develop. So if we can just keep this level of performance up and just hope that there will be one of those games this season, B&B. There will be one of those games where everything we hit goes in and we may beat a team 4s or 5s or 6s, which we never looked like doing at any point last season in my eyes because for one, we weren't creating as many chances. And two, we never had anyone. We never had anyone we could really put our faith in. And I feel like Gabriel Jesus could be that man where when it kicks off and when he goes through that hot streak, he'll be able to score hat tricks like we saw at Man City, 2s, nick 1, even in a not great game because he's just in that run of form. We need to get him in that. And if we can show that level, that's the next thing in our attack because our attack is close. It's not far from being elite. It's not far, but we're not there yet. And that's what we're missing. Look at Spurs. Look at even Manchester United with the quality that they have in attack a lot of these points and the clinical edge that they can have where they can just sit back and counter-attack and score. We miss that. We dominate. We've got brilliant players all around the pitch, and our forward players also help us to dominate because of what they bring in terms of movement, work ethic, those things. But we need to take that next step, and we need that clinical edge. I do agree. Big up yourself, Aled, as well in the place. Nice seeing you in here, my man. And if you go check out Clock Talk TV, you might see a wild admin there as well. Big up yourself each and every time. Tereak Talk, solid start in Europe, mate. Big up yourself. I don't even want to send shots to you because I love you so much, Aled. But I can't say the same about your side. No, I'm not saying it to you. I'm saying it to those other Liverpool fans, all right? Pick up yourself, Aled, in the place. Keep giving away cheap goals is not that solid. The excuse is very young side, but we have lots of room for improvement. Listen to that. Yeah, he's B&B spot on right here. He is absolutely spot on. We are a young side. We are giving away cheap goals once and again. And it feels like all the goals that we've conceded have been cheap goals at points this season. That's what we need to really level up on. I've not seen a side really break us down and say, you know what, Manchester United probably, but even those goals I thought were cheap and avoidable. If it was a catalogue of errors for the first goal. There was so much going on. And then you're looking at other errors and giving the ball away. And I guess most goals are like that, but it seems to be individual mistakes rather than structural issues, which is probably harder to fix. And it probably gives us a little bit more hope and a little bit more, the fact that we will improve on this and it's a managerial issue. So I'm hoping that that will be amended and that will be fixed. And the players will start to be more alert to it and gaining concentration and not let these cheap, because these cheap goals against quality sides will cost us wins and points and even competitions. Do you know what I'm saying? So we saw it on the weekends, those cheap goals conceded. So it is something we need to improve on, and I'm expecting to see improvement on that this season. And if we don't, we're gonna have to make changes in the market again, and we need to bring in more experience. We're still one of the youngest sides in the league. I know you're gonna hear, I know it's probably sick at you Arsenal fans, or a lot of, not you Arsenal fans, a lot of people are sick of hearing that, but it's a fact, as you said, and as Rafa Benitez says, it's a fact. Big up each and every one of you that's been locked in, and in the new subscribers. Thank you for tuning in and subscribing. Really do appreciate that. How did Tomiyasu perform today? Has he been missed? Will White or Saliba be about to take that left centre-back spot? So let's answer these questions. Big up yourself, my brother. Social each and every time. Tomiyasu was really good today. His first start of the season as well. So I wasn't expecting it to be a vintage performance or Tomiyasu at his best, which we saw a lot of points last season. But what you did see is what Tomiyasu brings: defensive solidity, athleticism in that right back area, aerial dominance as well in that area, and he's a very much an aerial threat in both boxes. And I'm expecting to see a goal from Tomiyasu this season. I'm expecting to see that, so let's hope we get to see that, people. And another thing, but the main important thing, is that passing ability off of both feet. We never really saw this. I mean, a lot of Arsenal fans didn't see Tomiyasu before he came to Arsenal. I certainly didn't. I may have watched Bologna, but I never really paid any attention to Tomiyasu. But this is something that the scouts certainly picked up, like they did with Ramsdale. They saw that ability and they saw that he could get to that level. And his passing is ridiculous. And he's better than Benjamin White's. And Benjamin White, his best ability is probably his passing and how he's able to drive forward and take us forward and expand play with both feet as well. But Tomiyasu is he's ridiculously good. Let me know if you agree. Do you agree with me in the comments about that? I think that's the biggest element that Tomiyasu brings, as well as his defensive abilities and aerial ability. But I've been very impressed with Tomiyasu today. And if it was the final, I'm starting him. Has he been missed? That one's a bit more difficult. I don't think he has been missed. And that's because of Benjamin White's level that he's been at and how good he has been. And you know what? And that's massive credit to Ben White. That's a huge credit, because at last season, Social, we can all agree, we definitely missed Tomiyasu towards that second half. We missed him again when Cedric was playing with Tierney, but we didn't miss him anywhere near as much as we missed him when Tierney got injured. And we saw Tomiyasu play at left back. Really good game against Rafinha. This guy is a 1v1. He's defensively solid in the 1v1, and he's brilliant on the ball. And this is exactly what you want from your modern day fullbacks now. And that's what he can bring. Will White or Saliba be about to take that left centre-back spot? It's going to be interesting, and it's something that Arteta, it depends on Arteta for me, and how important he sees Gabriel and what his strengths are and the ability that he brings in terms of his defensive, concentration, his athleticism, his strength. And those are the real things that I'm talking about. And he does pick up good positions when he's tuned in and he's positioned well. You see him on that left side and he covers that left back spot. I think Gabriel would suit Zinchenko more, because I trust Gabriel to defend in those wide areas a little bit more when he's not being rash. And the balance and the complement that he gives with Saliba when they're both performing well, he's the aggressive centre-back who's going there, going with a striker when that long ball's coming. He can win the header, strong in the air. That's why he scored more goals than anyone else in the Premier League as a defender, from defence, sorry, not all over the pitch. Scored more goals than any defender in the Premier League since his arrival. Doesn't surprise me because of how aggressive and how strong he attacks the ball in both boxes. I think he's important in that. But it just depends on how important Arteta sees that, and will White and Saliba complement each other. White can be aggressive as well, but I don't think he has that strength that that Gabriel gives you. He's definitely not as strong in the air. So it just depends. And would I trust him in a 1v1 race? Probably not. But there's more to Benjamin White than that. And I do think he definitely has a place in the side. So mainly I thought White or Saliba. Not really both. But there will be games where we will see White and Saliba. I'm sure about that. But what about Rob Holding? Not for me. Nah, just in terms of if we're going to be a ball dominant side, I don't think you can really start Rob Holding in the Premier League. In the Europa League, in the group stages, certainly can. But in those Premier League games where you got a higher level of quality, more intensity, and better teams in terms of their structure and ability, I don't think you can play Rob Holding. So it will be interesting. And yeah, it kind of shows why, Arsenal were interested in Lisandro Martinez, because he's someone that would be a left back and someone who can cover in that left centre back for us, and a very good passer of the ball. Excellent. One of the best in the world at that. I hate to say, although I do think in a back four, week in, week out in the Premier League, still unconvinced. But in what he can give you in those areas, we'll have to see, man. The improvement is clear, but we are the Arsenal and want perfection. That and Man City demand it to even be within a shout. Yeah, we do. It's true, spot on. If we're gonna challenge Man City, which is what we want as Arsenal fans, we're gonna need almost perfection. Liverpool can have almost perfection and still lose out to City. And Liverpool, it seems like it's taken a real toll on them this season for sure to B and B. So yeah, we're gonna have to be. But yeah, the improvement is there and it's encouraging. And maybe once we get back into the Champions League, we can sprinkle that little bit of stardust, that world-class ability into the side and really thicken our spine, because our spine is very good and I think it can get better. When you think about our spine in our strongest 11, Ramsdale in goal, Gabriel, Saliba as the centre-backs, Partey and Ødegaard in midfield, and then Gabriel Jesus up top, and then you've got your Sakas, your Martinellis, your Xhakas that gives you Mr. Consistency. I think all of those players and all of those positions, not necessarily get rid of this player, but I think you can improve and you can add different elements to the side, like Xhaka, for example. You can get someone who can give you what Xhaka does and a little bit more. Hard to find, but much harder to find than we would have thought 2 seasons ago. But that level of consistency that he gives you, it's going to be difficult, and maybe a little bit more in terms of goals. I don't even think necessarily Tielemans will replace that, but what he will give you is something different. Those goals, those creative numbers. If we're going to be playing this formation, I would rather have Tielemans in a lot of these attacking areas than Xhaka. But that's not once again, it's not a diss to Xhaka at all, but he's just more of a goal threat in those areas, and that's what I'm thinking of. There is levels that we can take, and that's more long-term thinking. Competition for Saka, competition for... I mean, Martinelli has competition, but if his competition can stay fit in Emile Smith-Rowe and Martinelli, they're 2 different players, but they offer you 2 different... they will give you 2 completely different things throughout 90 minutes, but they can both give you end product as well. We saw it with Smith-Rowe last season. We're seeing it with Martinelli now, and that's what's important at the end of the day. And having that mixture, that's what Man City have, that's what Liverpool are lacking right now, and look how much it's costing them. Big up yourself, Ed, and we've got 50 people in now. Big up yourselves, everyone. Smash that like button and subscribe if you're new, and listen to B&B. This worth a subscription, this channel. Think we need Big Gabby in LCB, a warrior on the pitch, and a player you want next to you, especially if you are Saliba. Yeah, I hear that. And that's why I think they're centre-backs. It's so important that you get the right one. I'm watching Manchester United. They're bringing on Lisandro Martinez. And we've seen the improvement in Rafa Varane since Martinez has come. And that's just because his game, his profile as a centre-back, being the aggressive one, allows Varane to be the sweeper. And it's really taken his game up a level. Whereas before, Varane had to be the aggressive one because, Maguire couldn't do that because he's not getting back in time and he's not quick enough. And Varane looked a shadow of himself, and he played with an aggressive centre-back at Real Madrid, and that's where he got, the Champions Leagues and his high status. So, interesting. I do think you're right in that. It's interesting. I don't think Arteta will make that change. I don't think he will with the current squad of players. But if we do buy a left-sided centre-back who can compete with Gabriel, and I'm not even saying necessarily has to be as strong or as a show that worry and that fight at the same way, or, you know, just be at that level, just someone to compete with him, be a little bit lower in that sense, but will give you better passing ability. I think Arteta would take that. And I think it might give him food for thought, but we don't currently have that in our current squad. Holding can do it up to Wolves. yeah. And he can do it off the bench as well. It's Rob Holding, man. He's brilliant off the bench if you want to go to a threat at the back formation. He'll give you that there. Defensive solidity, he'll head it away, good aerial threat, those things there. Definitely. But yeah, just a quick player ratings right now. Just a quick one. I'm not going to be having anything visual up here, so apologies for that there, people. And sorry if you heard that in the background. So yeah, just talking. Matt Turner, we're going to go for a base average level as a 5. I'm going to give him a 5. Didn't have to do much. Looked a little bit shaky. I'm not going to go any lower than that. I'm not going to go any higher than that either. Then we're talking about Takehiro Tomiyasu. I'm going to give him a 7. I know that's quite high, but I'm going to give a few of these players decent ratings. I'm going to give Takehiro Tomiyasu a 7. Actually, let me change Matt Turner's and give him a 6, because I think 5 is a little bit harsh. So Matt Turner, giving him a 6. Takehiro Tomiyasu, a 7. Rob Holding, I thought he was decent, strong in the challenges. He did his job well. Didn't really make an error of note, unless, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. I thought he was, once again, if I'm going to give Takehiro Tomiyasu a 7, I'll give him a 6 as well. Gabriel, I'm going to give him a 5, just below average, just because of that and the level I expect him to go to. Maybe I'm being a little bit harsh, but I've given him a lot of praise, so I've got to give him criticism where it's due. So Kieran Tierney, I'm going to give him a 7. I was contemplating an 8 because I thought he was really good tonight, but I'm going to say 7 for both fullbacks. Let's see what you guys are saying. Get yours coming in the comments like B&B, as he's saying Turner is a 6, which is the same rating I went for. That one bad moment, I know which one you're talking about, where he gave it away, but I thought that once again it was a bad pass by Gabriel. I didn't think he put him in a great situation there, but he should have done better with it. So yeah, the lowest rating I've given so far is Gabriel. In midfield, Lokonga, really decent as well. This is his level. Like, this is where he shines, and I like to see him in these types of games. He's very good with his passing, very progressive. He deserves a little mention at least. He was very good tonight. So I'm going to give Lokonga a 7. I'm not going to do any 0.5s, as B&B says. That's sitting on the fence. So no 0.5s in here. I'll give him a 7. Fabio Vieira. In context of his, it's his first start. He's only had 20 minutes under his belt. I'm going to give him a 7 as well. Some people might be a little bit more harsh in that sense because, he wasn't great. He was giving the ball away at times. And yeah, he's the one that gave it away, which led to the corner. But that was a long time after. So I'm not going to blame him for the goal. So I'll give him a 7. I'm excited to see Fabio Vieira, just as a lot of us are. Marquinhos, I'm going to give him a 9. And that's once again within context of his first game as a teenager for the Arsenal. You saw how emotional it was for him, and he's contributed to the winning goals. Essentially, him and then Eddie Nketiah won us the game. So Marquinhos gets a 9. Fabulous performance. If you want to hear more about that, go check out the start of the stream. Left wing, Gabriel Martinelli. I'm going to go 6, and that's once again context with how the level I see him at and where he can get to. If this was Gabriel Martinelli's first game, I'm probably looking at it in a completely different way. But yeah, this is just me being the fan and looking at it in an emotional way. So I'm going to say 6 because once again, I can see that level wasn't as bad as Gabriel Magalhaes. Still threatening, very good movement as well. Martinelli's, he's got that wide forward movement, and he's someone I can see taking that next level and potentially at some stage in his career becoming world class if he can keep increasing his performances level and goals and those things there, the things that we all love and that people judge him on. Who else am I missing? Granit Xhaka, of course. If I'm giving Sambi a 7, I'm going to give Xhaka an 8. And that's because he was really good as well. I didn't even mention him. I haven't given him his flowers. because this is just Granit Xhaka now. He's shown a high level of consistency, doing it on both ends of the pitch, being that box-to-box midfielder, going literally inside the box, doing his defensive duties in the other end, and looking attacking threat and putting some good balls into the box. Granit Xhaka is up there for contender of man of the match in my eyes. And then the striker, he's got to get an 8 as well, possibly a 9. I'm going to leave Marquinhos with the 9 so he can get the man of the match ratings. But I'm going to give Eddie Nketiah an 8. Very impressed with him as well. I expect a lot of goals in this Europa League. Potentially, I'm going to hit a target for him. So I've said Martinelli has to get 15 to 20 goal contributions this season. I want 15 goals though, and then the other 5 can be assists, but maybe so. But yeah, 15 to 20 goal contributions. I think that's a decent amount you're asking. So let's say 10 goals, 10 assists, or 8 or 12 goals, 8 assists, those things there. But I want more than that really. But I'm giving him a solid base level. 15 goal contributions, 20. It's got 15 to 20. I want that there. But for Nketiah, I want 6 goals in this Europa League. I want 6. No, it sounds a lot. We've got 6 group games, but I think he's going to have an important run if we make it beyond the groups as well. So 6 goals. He can grab a brace against Zurich at home. Give him that. And then he can grab a hat-trick somewhere. And there you go. He's already done it. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm expecting minimum 6 goals in the Europa League for Eddie Nketiah. And the substitutes that came off the bench as well. Let's have a look. We had Ødegaard, who came on for Vieira alongside Zinchenko and Saka. Didn't really need to do much. The game was won. They played well. They gave us a little bit more balance. Oh, and Jesus, I'm going to give them all 6, really. I can't really give them any higher than that. They weren't. I mean, Martin Ødegaard, he played a wonderful ball. Actually, yeah. Martin Ødegaard was probably the best out of the subs. Definitely. Let me see. I'm having a look at these. I'm having a look at your comments, B&B. Okay. Flowers for Granit Xhaka. I give him a daisy. No, give him the flowers, B&B. I know he can be frustrating, but nah, he's been good. He did cry when he scored 9 for the Tees. Oh wow, B&B's harsh, man. B&B's like, yeah, I would have given you a 10, but why are you crying for? What are you crying for? You know what I mean, big up my brother Ethan here as well. I like Sambi forever growing. Are we going to get a 0.5? No, we're not. You ain't got 1.5 there. So I'll run through the ratings just for you one more time. 6 for Turner, 7 for Tomiyasu, 6 for Holding, 5 for Gabriel, 7 for Tierney, 7 for Lokonga, 8 for Xhaka, 7 for Vieira. Did I go 7? 7 seems a bit generous now. But yeah, I'm going 7 for Vieira, 9 for Marquinhos, 8 for Nketiah, and 6 for Martinelli. Do you know what? I feel like I'm being a little bit harsh, but let me know in the comments, guys, of your player ratings as I'm about to wrap this up now. But no 0.5s for you right there, B&B. Thank you to each and everyone for joining me for this match reaction. If you're new, subscribe. Check the videos out on the channel. We might have, I'm not sure, depending on what the situation is as we get more information. Stay locked into the channel. You can find out through the community posts anyway. I'll let you know if there's going to be any shows coming up in the next coming days. So stay tuned, people. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and we are out. Love to you all, but let's remember, and condolences to the royal family and everyone that is mourning the death of Queen Elizabeth II. God save our Queen, the longest monarch in British history. Take care, people. God bless, and we're out.